I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to the school board meeting this Thursday, January 7th, 2021. The public is encouraged and welcome to address the school board at the hearing of citizens. Tonight, there will be two sections for hearing of citizens. The first section is for board agenda items. The second section is for public comment on recommended instructional materials for K-12 English language arts adoption. If you wish to speak during the hearing of citizens, please pick up a card in the back of the chambers, print your name and topic clearly, and return to our board assistant, Kathy Tompkins, over here. And at the appropriate time, I'll call you up to speak. Tonight, we are privileged to have the Riverview High School Army JROTC under the direction of First Sergeant Fernando Garcia. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Order.
Thank you. Tonight, we are fortunate to have Jacoby Davis from Riverview High School, senior, as our student representative. Welcome, Jacoby. It's been nice for you to join us as student representative. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and about the Civility Squad character trait for January, and how it affects you.
Thank you. I just want to start off by saying I appreciate you all for having me here tonight. My name is Jacoby Davis. I'm a senior in the IB program over at Riverview High School, and I will be continuing my education at Cornell University next year and participating in the baseball program there. Thank you. And so for the Civility Squad character trait, it reads as follows: make a difference, hold a door, lend a hand. When asked, who can help, shout, I can. That personally affects me in a plethora of different ways, but most importantly, being in the sports industry, we're always tasked with being a servant leader. And in doing so, we become closer with those around us, and we are able to affect those around us in a positive manner. So I feel like as a generation, if we can learn to embody that, we will build closer bonds and connections to everyone around us. Thank you.
And tonight we have two special presentations. For the first presentation, I'd like to ask Chief Enos to please approach the podium.
Board, Superintendent, today is an excellent day for us at the police department in that in the past we've recognized officers that have gone over and above. And today we get an opportunity to recognize one of our students that went way over and above in basically saving a smaller, younger kid at Wilkinson Elementary School. So what I would like to do is, if I could have Ms. Nations talk a little bit about the family and introduce them and have them come up, and then I'm going to read the proclamation that was submitted by Officer Lehman, and we'd like to award them this certificate.
So I'd love to introduce you to the Scott family. Today we're going to be recognizing Jaden Scott. And Jacoby, what you just shared about making a difference, I think after Chief Enos shares what Jaden did, he makes a difference. But you know what? He makes a difference not just on November 4th, the day we're talking about today, but every single day. He's a leader on our campus. This family has created a leader who makes a difference, and they are constantly involved in the school, and we are so thankful for them. So it is our pleasure to recognize Jaden and the work that you did and you do on the campus of Wilkinson every single day, but especially on the 4th, which Chief Enos is going to talk about. Jaden has been a student at Wilkinson for 6 years. He's a 5th grader, and he's a patrol. He's in our advanced work classes, and his brother Andrew is also a student at Wilkinson. So we are thrilled to have them here this evening. And also here celebrating Jaden's achievement is Jaden's teacher, Mr. Mark Harrison, our SRO, Steve Lehman, and online watching is the patrol sponsor, Mrs. Watts, who's also very proud of you. So we feel like we're a part of your family too, Jaden. But we are really excited to welcome you this evening.
So if we can go ahead and have you guys come up with your family, and the teacher, please come on up. And I'm going to read you this certificate that we're going to present that was actually submitted by Officer Lehman. Jaden Scott is a 5th grader on the security patrol at Wilkinson Elementary School. While helping at the car line on November 4th, 2020, a small child walked off the curb when a car began backing up. Jaden stopped the child from being hit. He reached out, pulled the little boy back, held him there for a moment in order to catch his breath. A Wilkinson staff member who was on her way, it occurred that Jaden's assistance helped avoid what could have been a terrible accident. She noted that Jaden had amazingly quick thinking, and today, on behalf of the Sarasota County Schools Police Department, we are going to reward him with an Outstanding Patrolman Award, and we are very, very grateful for what you did that day, because that makes us all very, very proud. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jaden, for coming today and his family. My daughter, a granddaughter rather, is a 5th grade, and she's very proud to be in the patrol too. She patrols inside the school, so she hopefully will never have to save a child. But your quick thinking has been heroic, and we really appreciate you, and I'm sure his family does too. Thank you. The next presentation, I'll ask Brian Hirsch and Jennifer Vine to please approach the podium.
Good evening, Chair, school board members, Dr. Asplin, Mr. Hardy, and Mr. Davis. It's been an honor to help facilitate and convene the Teacher of the Year selection process for Sarasota County Schools this year. But like most things this year, our process has been a tad different. Most notably, you'll see that we have 4 finalists this year to reflect the number of schools and teachers we have in our elementary division. We have 2 elementary finalists this year. All of our schools had the opportunity to recognize and celebrate their school-specific Teacher of the Year, and teachers then had a chance to enter the process that would put them in the running for our district Teacher of the Year and advance then maybe to the state. All the while, we did our best to ensure a smooth and easy process. We know among our 4 finalists, Sarasota would be represented well indeed at the state level. As a Florida Department of Education program, Teacher of the Year has a particular selection criteria, and this year's focus is to select a teacher with a proven track record of positive impact on student learning. The state's program's mission is to honor and recognize excellence in teaching, support continued learning for all educators, and highlight the importance and impact of the profession. Selecting a Teacher of the Year is meant to celebrate the thousands of outstanding professional educators in Florida schools. Now, Sarasota County Schools' selection and celebration of Teacher of the Year is made possible by our partners at the Education Foundation of Sarasota County. So please welcome their president and CEO, Jennifer Vine, to tell you more about how we will honor our teachers.
Hi, good evening, all of you. It's always a pleasure for the Education Foundation of Sarasota County to recognize and support the wonderful teachers we have. It's been a part of our mission, and continuing to share and demonstrate the excellence that teachers bring to our community is certainly something that we always want to make sure our entire community is a part of. We have extraordinary teachers within our midst. And so to that end, we knew that the show must go on, whether in COVID or not. And so what we have done is we have converted and pivoted to a virtual celebration, but I can assure you it will have every element of excitement, drama, and fun, so that we can really put the spotlight to those who deserve it the most, and that these 4 finalists have brought so much to the table, and we also want to recognize the 3 who have served this past year. So on Thursday, January 21st, from 5 to 6 p.m., will be the virtual celebration. There is no cost for anyone in the community to attend this event. We want everyone as possible. Share it with everyone you can. That's one of the benefits of being in a virtual celebration. Registration is required, however, in order to do it. Will not be a live stream on Facebook. You do need to register. And so we have just sent invitations to each one of you. You should see it in your inbox. So to that, Brian, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Jennifer. And first, we know this year all of our teachers have done a phenomenal job, so we really want to give them a shout out and kudos as well, and all of the teachers of the year at their respective school. I also, just before we present our Teachers of the Year, I want to recognize and take a moment to acknowledge the work of our selection committee. The process, as I said, was really smooth, streamlined, and actually all digital, no paper. It included, of course, Zoom interviews. We followed criteria of the Florida Department of Education and implemented scoring based on their rubric. So thank you to our diligent efforts of the selection committee, which was, of course, Jennifer Vine, Sid Quinn of SCTA, Carol K. Brown, our district's Director of Leadership Development, and of course, the committee included the Teachers of the Year from last year, who you're about to see. Joshua Grant from Venice High School, Marissa Daubert of Sarasota School of Arts and Sciences, and Heather Young from Venice Elementary. Please welcome our 2019-2020 Teachers of the Year as they recognize and call forward our finalists this year.
Good evening. I'm Josh Grant. I am the 2020 Sarasota County High School Teacher of the Year. Thank you for having me tonight to speak in front of you, and thank you all for your leadership throughout this trying time. I know it's been an ever-changing process. It was an honor to serve on this selection committee this year and to celebrate all of our outstanding teachers. In selecting our district's High School Teacher of the Year, her tireless commitment and dedication to reaching all students stood out to the selection committee. Please welcome our High School Teacher of the Year from Booker High School, Math Teacher and Dropout Prevention Coordinator, Becky Satterley.
Good evening. I'm Marissa Daubert, and I'm the Middle School Teacher of the Year for Sarasota County. I'm currently teaching math at Sarasota School of Arts and Sciences. I was also honored to be part of the committee. Our Middle School Teacher of the Year stood out to us with her infectious enthusiasm and creativity. Please welcome this year's Middle School Teacher of the Year from Sarasota Military Academy Prep, Design Teacher Samantha Miller.
Good evening. I'm Heather Young, art teacher at Venice Elementary, and I just wanted to echo what Josh said about your support during these trying times. The things like the extra planning days just mean so much to us as classroom teachers, so thank you for your support. I had the honor of serving as the 2020 Sarasota County District Teacher of the Year for Sarasota County. Thank you for the opportunity to represent our district and all of our incredible teachers who put forth their best effort every day and who are committed to positively impacting all of our students despite the challenges. As mentioned earlier, we have 2 outstanding elementary finalists this year.
From Fruitville Elementary, our kindergarten teacher stood out in how she innovatively engages families, implements effective data collection, and ultimately shapes and builds character in our youngest students. Please welcome Carrie Johnson. And lastly, from Alta Vista Elementary, the selection committee found this 5th grade teacher to be shining brightly with a captivating passion and joy to propel students to achieve success. Please welcome Emily O'Brien Swope.
Before we take a picture with them and with you, I just want to do one last thing. I really want to take a moment to recognize our principals and administrators who are here with us from the respective schools. I see that Shannon Fleming, AP from Booker High School, is here, if you wouldn't mind standing. And I know, Dr. Shelley, you're watching online. Thank you so much for being here. Also, I know that SMA Prep had a parent event, so Principal Thomas Hare can't be here but he sends his support. Stephen French from Fruitville Elementary, thank you so much for being here tonight. And of course, Dr. Barbara Shirley, principal of Alta Vista Elementary. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, principals. To our board, our superintendent, Mr. Hardy, Mr. Davis, thank you for all that you do. Thank you for all that you do to support and recognize all of our teachers and our 4 finalists of Sarasota County Schools Teacher of the Year. We would love for you to stand and take a picture with our 4 finalists now as this concludes our presentation. Thank you so much.
Board, I need you to squeeze this just a little bit tighter together if you could. Okay. You ready?
Stay there for one more for me. Ready, nice big smiles. Ready, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thanks, everybody. Megan, give her a big kiss for me.
You know, I'd like to thank you, all of you teachers, those who have served for the last year and this upcoming year. You're just a small representation of all the wonderful teachers we have in our district, and you make us all very, very proud. And Jennifer, let me say, I really like the way that you've taken this little extra step too by having the teachers submit something, and then they're often printed in the Herald Tribune. It's so nice to hear from our teachers and how they're doing, and it lets the public see too that, you know, what it is that motivates our teachers. And I think that's a good partnership you have with our teachers and with the Herald Tribune, and thank you for taking that extra step. Any comments? Thank you. Superintendent's report, Dr. Asplund.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate that. Just a few items here. First of all, we still have a need for substitutes, so anybody that's interested, please take a look at the webpage and apply. We would love to have you. Also, Sarasota County CARES Act Coronavirus Relief Fund Internet Assistance. Don't forget that the Sarasota County government is providing free Comcast Internet Essentials for pre-kindergarten through 12th grade students who are remote learners enrolled in a Sarasota County public school. And the student must be receiving free and reduced lunch services in order to be eligible. The deadline to apply is Friday, January 29th, so please take advantage of that. Registration to be a judge for the Sarasota County Schools virtual STEM fair is now available on the webpage, and that ends on January 22nd if you're interested. Also, I want to give you some great news. Our Sarasota County School District graduation rates increased to 92.5%, from 90 to 92.5. Yes. It's fantastic, and I want to congratulate all of our high schools for that. And I just want to make a special note to Northport High School, who actually over the past 4 years has risen their graduation rate by 11.2%. So that's really, really good. Also, I want to just let you know, I spent a little bit of time today at the transportation facility, and there were probably 300 buses there. We have 350 buses total in our school district, and they run 250 routes. And it was just a joy to go there and see how they operate. And Jason Harris, who's the director there, gave me a tour, and he did a fantastic job. And it was good to see the mechanics and the bus drivers and everybody working there. It was pretty impressive. And the fact that they go through around 38,000 gallons of gasoline every day, which was pretty amazing. And the amount of miles that they drive is pretty amazing. So I just wanted to let them know, and the drivers, we do thank you for all that they do. The drivers especially, you know, students, that's the first person they see in the morning, and it's the last person they see when they leave. That bus driver is so important, and they do such a great job. So I just want to thank them for a great tour today. And then we have our COVID information, and we have Chuck Henry and Michael Drennan, I believe, on the line again this afternoon or this evening. Michael and Chuck, are you there?
Good evening, Dr. Asplin. Can you hear me? It's just Michael Drennan tonight. Chuck did.
Yes.
Chuck had a conflicting meeting.
Hello, Michael. It's good to see you. Thanks for joining us today. I know that you and I, we're talking about our COVID update, obviously, and I know that I was on the phone with Chuck Henry this week, and we were talking about the vaccine and trying to figure out how we were going to be able to get that vaccine to our employees. And I know we had a good conversation about that and the number of vaccines that are available and how they come in every week and so on and so forth. And I know we also talked about the fact that we have a nurse in every single school. So when there's enough vaccines, we'd like to talk to you about possibly providing that for our teachers at our schools and get that done very, very quickly. But I just wanted to see if you could please just give us the latest update on the vaccine piece and our COVID numbers.
Sure. So update on the vaccine piece. Right now, the priority groups in Florida are individuals who are residents in long-term care facilities or nursing homes, individuals who provide frontline direct patient care, and individuals over the age of 65. Those are the priority groups that we're currently focusing on. We do receive vaccine at the health department, or we have for the last 2 weeks on Mondays. I will tell you that the amount of vaccine that we do receive comes nowhere near meeting the demand that's out there. I'm happy that there's high demand. I do wish there was more vaccine. My expectation as we move over the next couple weeks, that will begin to increase. But right now, very, very limited on vaccine. Nurses who are in the school would meet that criteria as an individual providing direct patient care. And I believe that, I believe you and Chuck had conversations about working on getting the school nurses in to get them vaccinated as well. Unfortunately, at this time, teachers don't fall into that criteria unless they would be over the age of 65. So we encourage those individuals to monitor the health department's website for updates on vaccine availability and vaccine clinics. As I said before, with limited vaccine, the demand is very high, so it can be difficult. I ask individuals to be patient as it relates to availability. We're doing the best we can to get what we have out there. We will end tomorrow with 0 vaccine in our inventory as we move into next week. And hopefully get a new allotment on Monday. As it relates to the COVID numbers, if we go back to Thanksgiving, we did see a slight bump in cases after Thanksgiving, both in the community as a whole and amongst our students, although that came a slight bump and came back down to what had been our norms prior to the Thanksgiving holiday. However, after the Christmas break, we've seen a sustained increase in number of cases, both amongst the general population and amongst our students. still having really good conversation and really good interaction with the school team and able to exclude both positive cases in the school and those contacts. Those numbers still are a small percentage of our total student population, so we're not making any recommendations on changing how the schools are currently operating, but it's definitely something we're keeping an eye on. And as I said, definitely saw an increase that has sustained after the winter break. Hopefully, as we move forward over the next couple of weeks, that'll start to normalize and decrease. But those are numbers that we're monitoring on a routine basis. As we have seen increased in cases, we've also seen increases in percent positivity for the community as a whole. We're still less than 10% for a 14-day average, but we're higher than where we'd like to be and where we were prior to the Christmas break. With that being said, I happily answer any questions or provide any other numbers that the board would be interested in hearing.
I have a question, and I'm Chair Shirley Brown. When you get the vaccine, do you still have to wear the mask? And I guess it's the same thing as someone who's been infected. You know, why do they still have to wear a mask? What are we still trying to protect?
Sure. So the vaccine is going to be 2 doses, or at least the vaccine we currently have. There are 2 vaccines available. One is manufactured by Pfizer. It's the one that requires the -70 cold storage. We have not received any of that vaccine in Sarasota County, at least to the best of my knowledge, we haven't. And the other vaccine is manufactured by Moderna. Also needs to be kept at freezing temperatures, but something that we can meet. And that one requires the second dose after 28 days of the first dose. The reason we're recommending or continue to recommend masking is the important thing is to remember is these vaccines are still under emergency use authorization. So there's still a lot we're learning about them. Science shows that they do prevent illness, but they're not at 100%. And so until we get a sufficient number of people in the population vaccinated, we still want to encourage masking to just further reduce that opportunity for infection. As we learn more about it, the CDC may change their guidance as it relates to masking for individuals who've been vaccinated, but we still need to learn more about how the vaccine elicits an immune response in the person.
We've been getting calls, concerns about this new virus that's out there, or the new form of it. I understand that it's easier spread. Is it more contagious, but is it more deadly, or do we know anything else about it yet?
Early science is indicating that, as you said, it is more contagious, but it doesn't appear to cause more severe illness or higher, percentage of death. So just easier to catch. Viruses are mutate. That's not something that's uncommon. So as they go through their evolution in life, they mutate and may change. This one appears to have done that, at least in certain situations, making it easier to spread from person to person, but not causing a more severe illness. But it's still very early on and still a lot we don't know about it. Monitoring what's happening in the United Kingdom, where it appears to have originated and be causing the most problems.
Thank you. Ms. Goodwin?
Well, Michael, I was one of the lucky ducks that got the vaccine, the jab, last week. And I just wanted to say thank you to the health department, because everywhere and every step of the way, as I went through the line and getting inside the building and so forth till I was completed, everybody was helpful, cheerful, exhibited great customer service, and I just want to say it's a real nice testimony to our great partners at the health department. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Ms. Ziegler?
Thank you. And I have one comment and then a couple questions, but I do want to reiterate what Mrs. Goodwin just said and thank you and the health department. I know This has been a trying time, and especially as you work through the distribution of the vaccine and then know the demand is very, very high. But I've heard very good things. I understand that people are frustrated, but the demand is high and the supply is limited. So I just want to tip my hat off to you and your team for keeping great patience and grace, and also to the community to understand that everyone's working to truly do this the best way possible. Did we lose Michael? Is he gone? I don't see him.
No, I'm still here.
Okay, I'm looking at the screen. It's me, so I can see you. Just for the purposes of consistency, I know I regularly ask when we talk about rates, I always ask about hospitalizations and our capacity. Could you give us an update on that? And then I have 2 more follow-ups.
Sure. So as we've seen increases in the community in cases, we've also seen increases in hospitalizations. I believe if you look at total hospitalizations, it's just right at, well, I shouldn't say that. That's for one specific hospital. The rates have increased as far as hospitalizations go, and they're going to be right around 10% of the total patient population, but that's going to depend on the hospital in question. One good note there is, while hospitalizations have increased, the number of patients that are having to be admitted to the ICU is not increasing. In fact, it's staying pretty stable and hasn't changed that much. So it would appear that those individuals that are getting the most critically ill isn't increasing. And the physicians are really doing an excellent job in managing individuals in a regular hospital setting and getting them discharged and not having to move into the ICU.
No, thank you. That's actually excellent news to your point, and hats up to the medical professionals heading up this early on. But the other question I have is, as it pertains to the vaccine, there's 2 questions. I know that because it's a novel virus, a new vaccine, there's a lot of unanswered questions, but as it pertains to someone who gets the vaccine, right now we're 65 plus and over as any of the other categories that you identified, but as that hopefully the supply increases and accessibility is there a need to quarantine after receiving the vaccine?
That is you mean just after receiving the vaccine?
Yes.
No. So I understand your question now. I apologize.
That's okay.
So just after receiving the vaccine, no need to quarantine. The vaccine's not a live virus, so it effectively can't cause a person to get COVID. What it does is it primes the immune system by exposing it to portions of the virus. So if the body does eventually get exposed to the actual virus, it can recognize it quicker and mount its immune response faster. But not a live virus cannot cause a person to get COVID, and so we wouldn't recommend quarantine after receiving the vaccine.
Very appreciate that clarification, because it's a regular one that I get. And then the final one is, as far as I know, Mrs. Goodwin mentioned that we are seeing mutations, reports of that. And so is it likely to, and if you don't have the answer to this, I appreciate that, but that if we consider, and I don't want to compare this to the flu, but because we have annual flu vaccinations, is this something that we would likely be looking at annual COVID-19 vaccinations because of the mutation?
That is a really good question, and unfortunately, I just don't have a good way to answer it right now.
Okay, very good. Appreciate it. Thank you so much again for everything you and your team are doing. Appreciate it.
I'd like to follow up on what Ms. Ziegler asked. If you've had COVID or you have had the vaccine and then you come in contact with somebody, do you still have to quarantine?
That is also a good question, and I'm going to need to do some investigation on that because I haven't seen guidance as it relates to it. I don't want to give you an answer, not know. Let me look into it and get you an answer. Is that okay?
Absolutely. But, we stand ready to do what we can to help you. Hopefully the governor will release some of those vaccines for the school districts, and we will do everything we can to assist you in getting that out to all of our employees. It's a very high priority for us, and so we want to do whatever we can to help you get that job done. We've got another.
I am thankful every day for the great partnership we have with our district. I can't tell you how many colleagues and peers wish they had the same relationship we do. So I do appreciate that.
Okay, Ms. Goodwin?
I would just add that both the Florida School Board Association and the Florida Superintendents Association have written letters to the governor requesting that we be moved up in priority. But that has not been forthcoming, but we will continue to pursue. In fact, I have a Zoom call with Mike Grego on Monday afternoon to discuss some things that we might do jointly together, FADS and school boards.
Thank you. That looks like all we have on that for you. Back to you.
Yes. So thank you very much, Michael. Appreciate it. And just the very last thing I wanted to give as the superintendent's report is just to congratulate again the teachers of the year. I know it has been a very unusually tough year for teachers, and they've done such a fantastic job with the concurrent teaching and everything. And I just want to thank them for their service, their dedication, your commitment to your students and your families, unprecedented. And we're just very, very proud of you and everything that you do every single day. And I was grateful for the pleasure to go out and visit each one of those teachers of the year at their school. It was fantastic to see them and their students. So again, thank you for all you do. We're proud of you, and you definitely make a difference.
Hearing of citizens. I have no cards. No cards, ma'am. We'll go past that. Additions or corrections to the agenda?
Yes. The following items were added after the agenda was published. Item number 9, the instructional classified personnel report. And item number 31, approval to hire counsel for Kim versus School Board litigation case. The following items have been moved to the January 19th agenda. Item number 32, approval of new job description, marketing and communications manager. Item number 33, approval of new job description, communications and community relations technician. And then item number 34, approval of the 2021 education plan. And just if I can say one thing about that, just this afternoon I received an email from the DOE. They had looked at our plan that we turned in before the break and made 2 slight revisions, or are requesting us to make 2 slight revisions and send it back to them tomorrow for a final revision. So I need to pull that and put that on the January 19th board meeting for approval.
Thank you. Do we have a motion on the consent agenda?
I move for approval of the consent agenda as amended.
Is there a second? Second. Thank you.
Second.
Please vote. I'm blind. I would assume it passed 5-0. Oh, wait. We're waiting for Tom and... I didn't vote. Let's take a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Like sign, passes 5-0. I ask that an item be pulled on that for comment because we have the head of the Education Foundation here today, Jennifer Vine, and one of the items on there, item 17, was for it's gone now, the student assistance for graduation. Could you give us a brief update on what that is? And I understand that we're going to have a workshop on that. To tell us some more? I'm sorry, I hope I didn't catch you off guard there.
Oh, no, it was fine, and thank you for
Item
asking me to
17.
come forward. So that item was pulled as a continuation of our student success centers that we have. This particular item is for Northport High School. Just to give all of you a little bit of background, so we have continued to work in college career life readiness work. This began actually, as Karen Rose well knows, in 2016 when the two of us actually came together and we began the work at the middle school level. It continued then expanding into the high school levels, where Northport High School was the first high school to have a student success center that the Education Foundation, in support of many of our funders, provided complete support for that. All of the Student Success Centers, we now have 3 operational success centers, one at Riverview High School, also at Sarasota High School, and we opened a community resource center at the Launchpad for You. These centers actually are all part of a shared vision that I think we collectively support, and that is to ensure that students graduate with purpose, with a plan for their future past high school. Jacoby, you made a great, congratulations again on Cornell. That is a high flyer, and I wish you success. What we also know is that many students have various pathways and plans, but the research shows that students need to have something that is tangible, either a high-quality certificate, diploma, or degree, whether it's a technical school, active military service, or all the way up to the Ivy Leagues. Students need to have this plan and the support to do that. And just to draw out one example for that, we had a student, Ariana, from Northport High School last year. Her dream school actually was to attend the University of Miami. She's low income, first generation. And so working at the Student Success Center, she was able to apply to 10 different colleges. She was accepted to the University of Miami, which is a private university, as you all well know. But the work doesn't end at the acceptance. Then it turns into how are we going to get the scholarship funding and the support to continue that. And then we've continued on with some expansions in other ways. But I just want you all to hear a little bit about it tonight. I look forward to sharing more and working with you on the 19th, but we could not do this work without the support and the collaboration that we get not only from the district leaders, but also the school-based leaders who have been absolutely phenomenal. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, we wonder about what happens to our kids after they go, and many of you might have seen the article in Sunday's paper about the UFO guy who was chasing UFOs. He was a graduate from Riverview High School, Luis Elizondo, and he said if he'd had to do it all over again, he would teach. He lauds erstwhile ROTC instructors Don Christensen and Thomas Sweeney, wrestling coach Ed Jones, and an English teacher whose name he wishes he could remember, and chemistry teacher Bill DeMay, who nominated him for the Phi Beta Chi Science Honors, although Elizondo doubts his grades merited that attention. I suspect Mr. DeMay knew I had some challenges in my home life, but that's what any good teacher does. They try to build you up, he says. I didn't realize that at the time. I know a lot of those teachers are gone now, but they still live in my heart. They didn't focus on the top 10%. They focused on the bottom 10, me being in that group. I remember seeing them interacting with these kids, sitting with them at lunch, offering to buy them breakfast, counseling them. The best teachers aren't necessarily going to teach you everything that's in the lesson book. They're going to teach you about life. I am who I am today because they decided to invest in me and believe in me. Even when I didn't believe in myself, they did, and I'm forever grateful. And he had one of the top posts in the Department of Defense looking at unidentified flying objects, what they didn't let him talk about. But it just gives me goosebumps. But these are the kids you're trying to reach. These are the kids you're helping every day. And, you know, shout out to Riverview High School and all those teachers that helped him. Thank you. I think there was one more item that we wanted to talk about on there. Oh, and that was for South County. We approved interlocal agreements to supply hurricane shelters, retrofit Northport High School, Gulfgate Elementary, and Taylor Ranch Elementary. We definitely needed some more hurricane shelters down South County. And now we go to new business and, pardon me? Take a breath. Well, sometimes we go through that consent agenda and we have no idea what we're doing. The first item on the new business that we have left, are we?
It's going to be number 35. Legislative platform number 35.
Well, I don't know that it's 35 still, is it?
Oh,
As it's listed on the agenda.
Madam Chair, I think you have Mr.
We also have the one to hire a counsel. That's the first item. We've changed this all up so much.
Madam Chair, I think you have a speaker to discuss with you the retrofit that you discussed from Sarasota County. Mr. McCrane and Mr. Dumas are here.
Oh, great, Mr. McCrane from Sarasota County.
Yes,
I didn't realize. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very
And
much.
this is about the hurricane shelters?
Yes, absolutely. So our partner in all this is obviously the Emergency Center Operations Center for Sarasota County. Ed McCrane is their representative who works with us all the time, and so we invited Ed to come talk a little bit about the agreement and our partnership. So Ed, we appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Madam Chair, members of the board, and Dr. Asplin, thank you for this opportunity. I've always wanted to publicly thank the school district and the school board for the support you've given us. I just went over 15 years with the county in 2020. I've been to several school boards and several superintendents, and I can tell you that you haven't missed a beat that whole time. I've had full support from the school district. This particular project came to light after Hurricane Irma, which the school district really stepped up. We broke records that year. We sheltered over 20,000 people and 3,000 pets in 13 of your facilities. Your teachers, your principals, all of you came to the rescue of the community. We had people from all over, and we had nothing but compliments. However, we do have a shortage in South County, obviously, because of the elevation, because of the older buildings. So this project came about when your facilities department and my department got together and was able to get over $1 million in funds from the state of Florida to harden Taylor Ranch Elementary and do some retrofitting to Northport High, Gulf Gate, and Fruitville Elementary. During the walkthrough with the engineers, first of all, let me say the board approved that funding in the third quarter of 2019 for the $1 million. And during the walkthrough with the engineers, they discovered additional funding would be needed to do everything that should be done. That additional funding is what you approved tonight. The $444,000 will complete that project. It will harden Taylor Ranch Elementary. It will provide us several thousand spaces for the community, and it will make those schools safer for those that are there, and it will make them more resistant to storm damage if we do have an event. I hope I can go 5 or 6 more years with no storms in Sarasota County, but we know we live in Florida, and the price for paradise is tropical storms. This year, I was introduced to your new superintendent, Dr. Asplin, during Tropical Storm Ada, and a few other events that occurred, and I can tell you that they were ready to step up and assist us in protecting the community. So thank you, and also thank you for everything you do in the community every day for our students and the young people of this community. You are a shining example in the state of Florida for a school district, and I'm proud to be part of the service here in this community, helping you do that.
We appreciate the partnership. Ms. Ziegler, did you have a comment?
I did. I just want to thank you for coming. I couldn't reiterate what you just said. I'm so grateful for the partnership we have with the county. It's a shining example of how we can collaborate together. After Irma was an extraordinary circumstance, and realized there were opportunities to improve, and so I'm very eager and excited to see us enhance these facilities to better support and protect our community in the event of a storm. So thank you for the partnership. Thank you for coming, and I'm very excited, as I give a thumbs up as we talked about this, to see this move forward. So thank you
And
again.
if I can also say, I congratulate you on the efforts you've made during COVID, the social distancing, the masks, the discipline that's been shown, the additional equipment that's been placed to enable you to have in-school learning. That's very critical, and you've done an outstanding job of that. And I think you're going to see an influx of people into this community because they want to do that with their children as well. So thank you for that.
Again, thank you for coming. Just because it's on the consent agenda, we all agree, but I think some of these things need to be pointed out, and our partnership with the county, we're very proud of. Okay, next on the agenda, do I have a motion?
Move for approval of the 2021 Local Sarasota Legislative Platform as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Let's try to vote. Are you getting a vote?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown.
She's not getting one. All right, they're not letting.
You want to make a comment?
Did you want to make a comment? You're.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry.
And I apologize to my
I can't see what these.
fellow board members. I know we've discussed this a multitude of times, and I want to thank Mrs. Goodwin for bringing a number of these things forward. I actually support substantially everything here. There is one area that I would like to see if my board members would entertain an amendment, and I do understand I'm bringing this to you unannounced, but there was one part as I continued to review it that on bullet number 4, the assessments, it's the last line, unless the results would improve a school letter grade. And the reason I want to strike that is that I don't believe that is what we stand for our students. COVID has decimated and hurt and impacted everyone globally. But we have the expectations and the standards for our students as our staff and employees, and I don't think it dramatically changes it, but I actually think it gives us a better standing when presenting this to legislatures when we talk about accountability. So I move that we amend bullet 4, strike unless the results would improve a school's letter grade.
We've talked about bringing things more transparency to what we're doing. I wished you would have brought this up at the workshop so we could have had a chance to look at it and discuss the ins and outs and pros and cons of this. Dr. Asplin, could we wait, pull this, talk it at the next workshop and bring it up on the 19th?
Yeah, I don't think it's time sensitive to where it can't wait till the 19th. If you'd like to bring it up on the 19th, discuss it, and then put it back on.
Right, and it's not that but we're making that we're not going to be doing things on the fly. We're not going to do a workshop and
Hence
vote for it. So we're going to.
Yes,
Okay.
agreed. So I will withdraw my motion, and I appreciate that. And that is, again, I don't think it substantially changes it. And so now you're.
Okay, so why don't you make a motion to defer this to the January 19th workshop?
I move to defer the priorities and issues for the 2020 Florida legislature legislative agenda or priorities for Sarasota County to the next workshop on January 20th. Am I right?
19th.
It's actually going to be in February. Remember,
Yeah, we've got something
our
going on.
workshop is
Yeah.
moving because of the attorney.
Well, it can go.
I can table it I move that I table this item
Table it to a later date.
To a later
Thank you,
date.
to a later date.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
So the motion passes. And next we have hearing of citizens.
Yes, this, if I may, this is, the district is reviewing material for the K-12 English Language Arts adoption. It's this year, as you know, is the ELA adoption, which has been available for public view on the district website now for 30 days. And we have Rob Manugian, who's here, and he will, I wanted him to just very briefly give you a calendar update as to where we are with the ELA adoption and what that will look like going through this spring, so that we know when the public can speak to it and then when it is actually due to the Department of Education at the end of this semester.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Dr. Asplin, members of the board, Mr. Hardy, Mr. Davis. Thank you for having me. For the 2021 school year, Sarasota County Schools will be adopting instructional materials in the area of English language arts for grades K through 12. These new materials will help guide us through the transition to the state's new best standards beginning next school year. Currently, the core instructional material selections are being comprehensively evaluated by teams of teachers, administrators, curriculum specialists, and members of the public. All English teachers in the district are encouraged to participate in the process and provide feedback to their school-based committee representatives. Committee members will convene by levels the last week in January to reach consensus, and final recommendations for district adoption are expected to be sent to the superintendent for approval on or about January 29th. Pursuant to both Florida state statute and local school board policy, final selections will be publicized for 30 calendar days after adoption by the school board on February 16th. During this time, any resident of Sarasota County may contest the school board's adoption of a specific instructional material by filing a formal objection. Details on this process may be found on the district website. If submitted, a qualified hearing officer, along with the school board, will hear any formal objection at a specially scheduled meeting within 30 days of the submission of that objection. Delays notwithstanding, enrollment numbers and adoption order specifications will be determined in March, and orders placed in April. Receipt, processing, and delivery of materials will begin in May and be ready to use at the beginning of the 21-22 school year. Our selection samples have been posted on the district website for public review since November 17th, and this agenda item allows for public comment on the various samples referenced above.
Thank you. And we have no cards for public comment, so we move on. That completes the work of the agenda. We have an upcoming Convocation of Governments meeting scheduled Friday, January 15th at 9 a.m. The next board workshop is a special one with interviewing attorney candidates on the 19th, beginning at 9 a.m. Proposed. It may change. The next board meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, January 19th at 3 p.m. Anything else any members would like to make? Comments? Then we stand adjourned. I can't see with these glasses anymore. I think they're dirty. Okay, touche.